If you've been watching any of my recent videos, then you probably know that loving Baby Oopsie has become my entire personality. So it's about time I give you a full review of Baby Oopsie. I'm Katie, and if you are new to this channel, I have recently made a decision that I'm going to be focusing primarily on media which includes exploitation cinema such as horror, giallo, and other subgenres, other weird and disturbing cult films, and a little bit of heavy metal and extreme metal. So if that interests you, come back and see me. But for now, today, we're going to be reviewing this 2021 full moon release, Baby Oopsie. This is part 1 of 3. So we're just going to be talking about part 1 today. I really don't shut up about this movie. It's ridiculous, but I love it. If you haven't seen it yet, don't worry, there won't be any spoilers in this video. Sybil Pittman is an online personality in the niche online community of doll enthusiasts. She spends her spare time restoring and collecting dolls, as well as creating internet content surrounding her hobby. Outside of that, however, her life is mostly miserable. She lives with her wretched stepmom and a sexy roommate. She works in a cubicle job in a complaints department. She's harassed by neighborhood delinquents. Sybil is generally not a people person, but she's bombarded by interactions with people every day when she'd really just like to be alone with her dolls. When a fan mails her the remnants of a doll named Oopsie, Sybil restores her immediately. Soon she learns, though, that to bond with this doll is a fatal mistake. Yes, so this film was released in 2021. You can find it on Tubi and YouTube, so you have no excuse not to see it. It is written and directed by William Butler, who you actually might recognize because he played Michael in Friday the 13th, Part 7. Now, while I don't know too much about the business and the behind the scenes of filmmaking, I always really like it when someone writes and directs. It just gets double respect from me. It just feels like I'm watching something like doubly personal. This film is a loose sequel to Demonic Toys from 1992, but you don't have to have seen Demonic Toys at all to enjoy this movie or follow it. The only thing you need to know is that in Demonic Toys, there was a specific toy named Baby Oopsie Daisy. Baby Oopsie Daisy had some iconic lines. So Baby Oopsie Daisy has returned in sort of a new iteration, Baby Oopsie. This film is part 1. Originally, it was released in 2 pieces. And then those 2 pieces were combined to make this full-length movie. I think they were calling it Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. Okay, and then after that, they put out Chapter 2, Murder Dolls. But then after that, they put out Chapter 3, Murder Dolls Burn, Baby Burn. Now, Chapter 2 and Chapter 3 are short. So potentially they could be put together to make a full-length film as well. I'm not sure what they're going to do, but just for the record, the Baby Oopsie I'm talking about now is 76 minutes long. So let's get into what I love about this movie, because I just love it. First, I'll talk about plot and things relating to that. So I'm obviously not giving too much away when I tell you this is a killer toy movie. And I don't know why I love killer toy movies. It's not necessarily because I'm a huge toy person, but I think what I like about killer toy movies is, one, they're very interactive killers. It's not a Michael or Jason, you know, it's a killer that talks to you and interacts with you, kind of like how Freddy does. But the other thing I love about killer toy movies is just it has that little like inkling of childhood magic, I guess, and just a little bit of fantasy mixed in there. I don't know. It's just every time I seem to watch a killer toy movie, I seem to like it. So this plot is fairly simple and straightforward, but I thought it was extremely interesting and engaging from start to finish. There's no boring fluff in there. It never felt like it didn't know what it was doing. The film was very directional. It had a destination and you were just heading straight for it. And this film also has a twist ending that I absolutely did not see coming. And it's so funny because every time I rewatch the movie, I still remember that feeling of the reveal and just, oh my gosh, just, I could still feel it. This film was set and filmed in Cleveland in this gorgeous house. I'm obsessed. Every time that house is shown on screen, I'm just like, I love it. I found out this house is called the Full Moon Manor. It's a house that Full Moon purchased with the intention of it being a movie set. So this is the first movie that was filmed in Full Moon Manor. But I think it's such a cool concept. Now let's discuss the themes and tone of this film. So I believe the goal of this film was to tap into, I don't want to say nostalgia, but just to tap into that energy of the glory days of like direct to video Full Moon, to really kind of capture that essence again. I mean, I think they pulled it off, although I haven't seen too many Full Moon movies. So obviously the tone of this movie is kind of silly and goofy and absurd. It's not really an overt comedy. It's more like subtly funny. But while this of course is a goofy movie, I still wouldn't call it a comedy. I think it's more of like the undertones. It's not like slapstick. Like if you were a kid and you were watching this would probably seem very serious to you. But for me, this film feels very cozy and comforting. It is so comforting, but at the same time it gives you that feeling of being alive, you know, what you get from horror movies. So it's just really balanced in that way. And speaking of horror, this film does not hold back on violence, and it's a blast. The violence is really fun. There is a revenge theme in this movie, which is very satisfying, and of course Satan. And one of my favorite themes in this film is you get a little bit of anti-work sentiment, sort of Office Space style, when it comes to Sybil's workplace. And damn, that just hit home. But it's also hilarious. I love the scenes in her workplace and with her boss. It's just relatable. The acting and the characters. One of the biggest draws for me for this film was the casting of Libby Higgins and Justina Armistead, two internet personalities which I was already familiar with. I actually saw Libby Higgins do a stand-up set when she was touring with Trailer Trash Tammy, and that was back in early 2020, but like I had no idea. She may have known at that time that she was doing Baby Oopsie, but like if I had known, I would have like fangirled twice as hard. Anyway, I love those two. And I was just so delighted to see they were in a Full Moon movie. And I've got to say, comedians make great actors, like especially in horror. Libby's acting is supreme. Everybody else was really great too. Even if maybe they weren't so great or their style was very weird, all the actors like grew on me. So even those that are sort of see, it's hard because a lot of these actors, it just felt like they were being their authentic selves. So it was hard to say, oh, well, they're a bad actor, because it was still very believable and enjoyable. But like, I'm a girl who loves bad acting, so you can't really listen to me. The characters. I've only seen like 3 William Butler films so far, but I love the way he designs and writes these characters. We have Ray Ray, the best friend, Earl, the mailman, Hickory, the gardener, Tabby, the unicorn scout, Karen, the middle manager, Mitzi, the stepmom. I love them all. Well done. And furthermore, this is another thing I love about the casting and I love about this film, is that these characters look like real people. We get this just really diverse cast of different types of people, and again adds to the relatability of this film. So our main character, Sybil, I felt particularly connected to her and fond of her, and I actually also really admire her because she kind of has this shit life. despite all that, she finds this sparkle of joy in her life by going down into the basement and working on her hobby. And it was so cool to like see her come alive when she's actually doing what she loves. And another reason why I look up to Sybil is, while many people describe this character as being weak, I don't really think so. I like that she doesn't feel like she has to be nice to people. Sometimes she does kind of take the submissive route, but a lot of times she'll be like, get out of here. Get out of my house. Get off my lawn, you know? And I just think that's really cool. She doesn't feel like she has to be nice. Okay, now let's talk about the music. This is probably another reason why I like killer toy movies, because usually it comes with a sort of tinkly, twinkly music box, creepy soundtrack. And that is what we get here in Baby Oopsie. Splendid. We also alternate. We get some rock music for the more intense moments, and it's just like a really nice contrast to flip back and forth between that. Like when things kick into high gear, we get some rock, and it's fun. I think the dichotomy there is really engaging and just keeps it interesting. Okay, now let's talk about like design and visuals. I already mentioned the house, but since it is a real house, it does look and feel really authentic. Same with Sybil's workplace. They look great. And I need to mention the freaking wardrobes. Exquisite. Sybil, like sometimes she's kind of dressed like a kindergarten teacher or something, but other times she has on like a graphic tee that'll have like a kitty cat on it, and it has like dumb sayings like, hang in there. And then sometimes she's looking like a total badass wearing a leather jacket. So again, we get a nice dichotomy. So Baby Oopsie's appearance, she looks really different than Baby Oopsie Daisy, but I still like recognized her. That's when I saw the cover on Instagram, on Full Moon's Instagram. So Baby Oopsie her look is changing throughout the film as they're using different puppets. It's a little uncanny, unsettling. Like it looks like a cute little baby doll, but also something looks off. And that's always fun. So effects wise, obviously there's like a lot of use of puppets for the doll scenes. And there's also a little bit of CGI, which doesn't like look that convincing, but it's not supposed to, I'm assuming. I didn't even notice that Baby Oopsie's like eyelids blinking was CGI. I didn't notice it until I was like doing some exercises, so I was like watching it upside down. And when I was upside down, that's when I noticed that the blinking eyes were CGI. I don't know. Someone said in a review that that really bothered them, but it didn't bother me because I didn't even notice. The puppeting was great. It was fun. Even if it like wasn't that great in some spots, it doesn't matter because this is a fun movie. And that's one thing I love about Baby Oopsie is like you don't have to take it seriously. So let's have a little moment just to talk about Baby Oopsie herself. She is quite the chatterbox and her voice is very grating. It is a little much. Even when she's killing someone, she's talking the whole time, yelling the whole time. Hey, I guess if she wasn't, then it would be awkward. But the voice actor was hilarious. I am assuming she had quite a blast doing this voiceover. And one of my favorite Baby Oopsie quotes is, "Dreams can come true, even if they're covered in blood." Now I shall discuss the quality of this movie. This is a low budget movie. I don't know what the budget was. I couldn't find it anywhere. But I did watch the behind the scenes that was on this DVD, and they did talk about it being a very tight budget. Also, it was only filmed in 6 days, which is cool. I don't know what the budget was, but I know that Full Moon tries to achieve a high budget look. And I say they really did that, at least in terms of just the overall crisp, clean, cinematic sort of appearance. I thought it looked really good. And now for my closing thoughts. This is my first time trying to do a movie review like in this format, so hopefully it came out cohesive. But basically I have nothing but respect for this movie and all the people involved with it. I have an abundant amount of love for this movie and I rewatch it a lot. It is extremely lovable. It's a true treasure. And it's also just so funny, but it also packs that punch that you want to get when you're watching a horror movie. Baby Oopsie has this ability to be so cozy and comforting while also still being horror. So it's just a really good, like, comfy movie while still having a degree of brutality. I just have a blast with this movie. For something to be churned out so cheap and so fast, like, it is making a lasting impact in my life. As silly as that sounds. The characters, the house, the music, the humor, the doll, the kills, Satan. These are all the things that I love about this movie, and it's just probably going to be one of my favorites forever. I do understand this type of movie is not for everyone. Only certain people will dig this. But again, if this sounds interesting to you, Tubi and YouTube, it's available to you. So I'd love to know your thoughts. If you want to check it out, or if you have checked it out, if you loved it, if you hated it, whatever. Let's talk about it. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, that's all, doll.